The Matrix is have you seen the movie?
I have.
Okay, so in the movie The Matrix, we're in a computer-controlled reality, right? They've projected a false reality into people's minds to entertain them while their bodies are being exploited by the machines. And it's very similar here in the real world. You are inside of a reality which is false. It doesn't necessarily have to be computer-controlled, but it's certainly media-influenced.
But who controls it?
The people who are behind the media machine, the people who are in charge of the world, which are also behind the governments. And the point I'm making when I say the Matrix is they will tell you false versions of reality. They will tell you things that simply aren't true so that you believe in lies just to keep yourself and your mind distracted while your body is being exploited for work. And it's exactly the same thing as the movie itself. We can sit and discuss and go through conspiracy theories of who I believe these people are. But the truth is, you have to understand there's very influential people out there in the world with massive amounts of money, massive amounts of influence.
Yeah.
And they're trying to push certain agendas and ideals on the population because why wouldn't they? If you have a company, you have a podcasting business, let's say.
Okay.
If you hire a member of staff who doesn't agree with you and doesn't do as you say and doesn't listen to you, you're going to fire him.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to want people to listen to you because you're in charge and you have influence. So if there's people who print money and they're literally in charge of banks and in charge of governments and they own the world, whatever they believe, whatever their influence, whatever their worldview is, they want to purport that and propagate that on the population, on the planet. And that's what happens where we have these ideas which are very heavily defended and certain ideas which are not allowed to be discussed.
But we want to fight the system.
Okay.
What would we have to do collectively to win?
All right, good question. So I truly believe that people still run the world because we decide how much we tolerate.
Yeah.
And we're unfortunately too tolerant of too much garbage, but we still do have control over the world. On an individual level, I can tell people how to escape the Matrix, but on a societal level, it's far more complicated because the unfortunate reality is not everybody can escape.
Yeah.
You need some people to believe in the system completely, because if everybody didn't believe in the system, then society would break down. Nobody would want to do some bullshit job, right?
Yeah.
Like, it would all be gone. But as a whole, people certainly need to learn to reject the slave mind and reject the information that is told to them from the news, understand that's all a lie. People need to stand up for the obvious injustices they see. They need to state in clear language that Balenciaga are pedophiles, for example. That's very important for humanity, for it's clear. It's important that they control your speech because you're not going to think what you don't say. And this is how they control what people think, by controlling what people say in the first place. So that's very important. But on an individual level and on a societal level, they're different things. On an individual level, I think it's very important for you to be a sovereign individual, which is hard to do, especially in the modern world, but you need to have finances. It's hard to be free when you're broke. That finance needs to be in places or come from streams which can't be affected or canceled or turned off by the Matrix machine. The world is hyper competitive. If you're going to be a man who's going to sit and say, I'm just sad, you are always going to lose in competition to men like me. Yeah. And there has to be losers for there to be winners. I am tired of sympathy. Sympathy doesn't work for anybody. I'm not going to sit here and be sympathetic for people who say they're too sad to try hard and be their best. Guess what? Perhaps I was sad every time I did exactly what I was supposed to do and trained anyway. Perhaps I was afraid when I fought anyway. Perhaps I was tired when I worked anyway. This is how you get ahead in life. I don't have a fucking ounce of sympathy for these people who sit here and say, well, I feel this way, so I can't. Then don't do it. Stay down there. The winners are at the top, and the winners at the top don't give a shit about how they feel. We wake up and we perform regardless of how we feel day after day. So if I'm going to ignore my own feelings, I'm certainly not going to take into consideration anybody else's. Yeah. Why am I going to ignore how I feel and make sure I'm constantly performing regardless, flawlessly, and then sit and go, oh, but he doesn't feel good, so he's allowed to fuck up. No, you are not. You're not allowed to fuck up to your ancestors or to God or to yourself. You have to perform. This is what being a man is about. The baseline of masculinity is doing things you don't feel like doing. I can't comment on being a woman because I'm not one. But the baseline of masculinity as a whole is the thing that makes a good man a man is that he does what he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to work and he works anyway. He doesn't want to go to war and he fights anyway. He doesn't want to get up, he gets up anyway. That's the whole point of it. We didn't want to die in the Titanic. Guess what happened? We died in the Titanic. You can't sit there as a man and say you don't feel like it. You're not allowed to not feel like it. You're supposed to do it anyway, regardless. Yeah. So when a man sits there and says, oh, but you don't understand, I'm struggling with motivation. If you are struggling with the motivation to be a winner, then stay a fucking loser. No problem. Stay a loser. Don't care. Because in my circle, there's no losers around me. Your energy is disgusting. I find it revolting. I don't like weakness around me, even near me. Even people coming up saying hello to me. If you're depressed, don't even shake my hand. I do not have time for losers on any regard. Winners only.